Welcome to my Minecraft Forever survival world, the culmination of nearly 1,000 hours spent over the last 4 years. And this is my mega base, the in-progress backbone of my world located on a mushroom island with the goal of housing a farm for every item possible. Keeping a world this long takes effort and dedication, but it also provides long-lasting memories and rich history that you can't get in your average 2-week Minecraft phase. My temple here under the tree of Mycellus is empty right now, and I believe the best build for this space is to build a museum dedicated to the world's history and rare Minecraft artifacts. And I feel the tree would make a great library for ideas and comments across my videos. Before we can jump into the build, let's take a step back and do some planning. All right, everyone, so welcome to episode 1 of this series. As you can see, I did a little bit of mining off camera here. I built all this prior to the first episode. All jokes aside, though, if you do want to see this world in depth, a good starting point would be the world tour that I have linked below. So since this is going to act as more of a, museum or document hub, I figured a good way to plan all the projects starting now would be to use a book and quill to write down sort of the ideas of the project, my inspiration, the goals, block palettes, and things like that, and then we can look back on these books as the world progresses. So opening up, the project for today's episode is the museum, and the location is going to be the temple and the tree of Mycellus. So the bottom temple here, this is going to be more of the museum for blocks and rare mobs and world artifacts like my first pickaxe and things like that. And then the inside of the tree here is actually going to act as a library where I could put books like this, and I also want to showcase YouTube comments in there. So the plan I'm going to break down into 4 kind of steps here. The first thing I have to do is clear the area because there's some stuff inside of the temple. And then from there, I'm going to shape all the rooms. Whoop, fell down here. Shape all the rooms, pick the block palettes, and then fill it with all the exhibits. So inside this temple here is not much, but there is a villager breeder and a beacon here that we have to clear out of this. This is some serious Indiana Jones type stuff. The only problem is I have this villager breeder up here that I used when I first came to the island to breed up all the villagers for my library trading hall. That's somewhere below this. And ever since then, they've just been sitting up here in complete and total darkness alone. So I need to tear this down, and I don't want to just kill the villagers. 1, because I'm not a complete and utter monster. But 2, I'm going to use them again in the future to put together a different auto breeder that will let me build a bigger trading hall for villagers other than the armor and the librarians that I currently have. So I'm going to have to move these guys somewhere else, and I have just the place for them in mind. I really messed this up. This guy got out of there and I can't get him back where I need to get him. And down you go. Welcome guests to your brand new home. Inside my base, I had an extra area here, actually like right in this hallway next to the trading hall. I had this extra space that I built a studio apartment in, complete with a full kitchen, a 2-seater dining area, a bedroom with self-portraits of them. Looks like this one already picked up a job in here. You're gonna be the chef, and a full flat screen TV setup. Honestly, these guys live better than me. They'll be completely sealed in here for now until I build a different, more permanent villager breeder to do a trading hall at a future time, but they should have everything they need in here to be completely happy. Except for a bathroom. I didn't build in a bathroom in here, so you guys are going to probably want to dedicate one of the corners of this room to be your bathroom. That's the one. Okay, so now that we have the space cleared out and a better picture of what we're actually working with in here to build a museum, what I like to do when building interiors is just figuring out the layout of, the walls, the rooms, the flooring, and things like that. I don't know if I want to have it be 2 floors or just 1 floor. I know I want to have arches going throughout it and something big in the middle, maybe like a statue or something like that. But when doing these, I like to do just like a base layout, and then from there I can actually focus on fitting in the exhibits that I want to do, as well as picking the block palette out and decorating the museum. So I'm going to play around with a couple things, and I will show you guys what it looks like. You thought I was going to do a little thing where I did a spin, and then when I spun in the room, then you'd see all the progress that I'd made? Well, you'd be wrong, because I don't know how to do that. So I made some progress on the inside and I want to share it, but I thought a lot about how I was actually going to get inside the temple from the outside. I could have made doors out of these arches here, but it would actually take away space from the inside that I'm using. And also for some reason, I chose to make this out of even number blocks instead of odd blocks, which was a bit of an odd choice. And I prefer to work with odd blocks for entrances to things. And so I thought, what would be another good way to get inside of there? And I thought, oh, okay, well, it's actually right above this fish tank here that I have in the center of the top floor of my base here. And I already had a trap door here when I was building this to get in and out of it. So I thought, what if I put a little hole in the ceiling here to get into the temple? So it's all made out of stone bricks from now. This is not going to be the final block palette. So I have a general shape outlined here. There's going to be some changes to it, I'm sure, as I start to put in the actual block palette and the details, but let me walk you through my thought process here. So each of these arches that go through the surrounding like perimeter of this room are going to be each an exhibit. So this would be an exhibit, one of the bigger ones. There's 4 big ones on each side. This would be a smaller exhibit. This would be a corner exhibit. There's a couple things that this could be. There's 4 corners, obviously. So I think something like a fish tank or something along those lines in some of these. I toyed with having exhibits on the 4 corners right outside the centerpiece here, but I don't think that there would be enough room for them, given I want ample space to be able to like walk around. And if there were exhibits here, it might make it feel a little bit more cramped. So I might just put something small in these 4 spaces here. And then I busted a hole here that leads into the inside of the tree on the outside. So in there is showing up inside this. And at the ceiling, I thought it'd be cool if there was these 4 sort of beams that are holding it up. I only kind of did the shape on this side. I might even adjust this a little bit further just to see how good it would look. But it would lead up to the inside of the tree. And then coming out of the bottom of this, there would be kind of roots from the tree actually like spreading into the corner pockets here and then kind of thinning out as they get further down. And then I was toying with the idea of having a second floor of the museum kind of on this level. I did do some like pathing up here, but there's clearly not enough space to actually put exhibits up here. So what I'll probably end up doing is just putting like railings along the side of this and maybe just some decorations up here so that it looks like there's a second floor, but really there's only 1 floor of exhibits. And I think this should be enough space. This lends room for 3, 6, 9, 12 main exhibits and then 4 corners, so 18 sort of things in all here. And I think I only have plans for a few. If I could find my book where I put all the plans in it, I would share it with you. Nope, I left it out here. So exhibits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 exhibits I have planned so far, so it'd still leave room for a couple more to grow into. So now that I'm happy with the general shape, the next step is to pick actually a block palette for me to start building these, the floor and the ceiling, and to refine the shape and get some more detail in here before moving in the exhibits. Okay, so with the project, I think this is the block palette that I'm going to be going with. So I split it into kind of 3 categories. There's the floor, which is obviously going to cover the floor area of this room. There's the walls, which I guess I should have also called like walls / the exhibit like arches. So it'd probably be mainly like the wood and the copper, probably, with the blue wood, whatever this is called, and the copper being kind of like the trim around this along the edge of the upper area. And the ceiling, I think, will be a mixture of kind of these orangey blocks with more of these earthy tones, with the black deep slate tiles being more of like a highlight block within it. And then the sandstone would be more for like the general color of like the wall behind here. These are subject to change while I'm building, but it is a good starting point to kind of pick the blocks out before time, gauge kind of the vibe of them, and then if I have to make any adjustments or if things aren't quite matching how I wanted them to match, then I'll swap out some blocks or maybe introduce a couple of new ones in here as highlights. All right, so the room is mostly completed here. I am really happy with how this all came out. You can see I deviated a little bit from the original block palette. I introduced a lot of birch in here, which wasn't originally expected, but I think it really went well with the stripped oak here. In the corners, I ended up actually not doing exhibits here. So before I was gonna maybe put something in here, I really just left it now for like bookshelves and little shelves for like trinkets and knickknacks. In the future, I might remove some of these bookshelves for more shelves if I want to display things like armor stands or maps or something like that. I also ended up not doing exhibits on the corners here like I was maybe going to. It was going to be too cramped. I decided I went with my gut and just put some recessed flooring in here, which I think works pretty well. So you could just go through like the main walkways here, but then if you wanted to cut through, you can go through here. And I think it breaks up kind of the busy pattern of the main walkways. And the second floor. So like I said, it wasn't going to have enough space to walk through, but I still wanted to put a second floor to put some stuff up here. And I think it kind of gives the illusion that this room is bigger than it is. So the plan is to put artwork and things up here as kind of like display so that you can see it from the bottom. It looks like you can kind of go up there, but you can't. And also I use this glazed terracotta up here. I really love this. It's not a block that I use often, but the pattern with the white glazed terracotta, if you place it like this, what it makes it look like is kind of like a sunrise that's kind of trimming over the top of this. And I think it goes really, really, really well with the sandstone below it. And the ceiling I also think came out great. I want it to be a little bit less noisy and bright than the main floor. So really to kind of keep the focus of your eyes at eye level or like on the second floor, but not too much going on up here, just so you're kind of like more locked into the actual exhibits and the artwork. So I left it a bit plain, but I do love how the roots are coming from the tree and kind of spreading over the corners here. And then I tucked some light sources within the wood up there just to light it up so you can actually like see in there. And I do want to use more of these mangrove roots. I really like how these look, but I just ran out of them in mid-project. I didn't feel like going to a mangrove swamp to get more of them. And so with the exhibits, I did decorate these, like the smaller ones that are around here. These are not going to be the final block palettes. I was going to do sort of like a standard one for all this, but then I realized it would probably be more fun to decorate it on a per exhibit basis. So each one of these is going to look different. These are placeholders for right now, but they look okay. But next we're going to make a few exhibits in here. I'm not going to do all 12 of them today in this episode, especially because some of the ones that I want to do, I don't have the actual thing that I want to display in here. But I think for this project, I want to do an exhibit for the dragon egg, which is going to be in one of these bigger ones, an exhibit showing off my first pickaxe and first enchanting table, and then a fish tank for the blue axolotl, which if you don't know is the rarest passive mob in the game. And the other exhibits we will build out over time as we collect things, and like any normal museum, we might rotate things out of here if we get something more rare or more interesting to display. We could take an exhibit down and put something new in here. So I'm going to get started on these exhibits, so get ready for another time lapse. Okay, so I think these came out really great. The one in the middle here is the dragon egg exhibit that is end themed. I just have to place down the dragon egg in here because I didn't do that before. Oh, that looks so good with the purple in there. I didn't even realize it would match with the purple here. The sculk does so much for creating like a space vibe in here. I've never built with this block before, but I love it. And I actually never even noticed the little like twinkle that it does. It's really, really, really cool in here. So the one on the left over here is cave themed. museum. This one is showing off the first ever pickaxe that I had made in this world. As you can see, I only used it 3 times, enough to just get stone for a stone pickaxe, but there's still something sentimental about this. Everyone who has played this game in survival has had to make a wooden pickaxe, so I think it really means something, and it just shows like how much I've grown in this world since making that. And then lastly, over here, I made an aquarium where I'm going to put a blue axolotl if I had one. For those that don't know, blue axolotl is the rarest passive mob in the game. It doesn't actually naturally generate anywhere, so I'd have to breed axolotls together. I think it's something like a 1 in 1200 chance for them to come out of breeding. So we're gonna have to make an area in the future to breed axolotls together to actually get this blue one, but I'm pretty excited for it, so I just wanted to make the tank here. And lastly, I filled the top level here with all the paintings in the game, or not all the paintings, most of the paintings in the game. I didn't do any of the really big ones because they would look goofy taking up the whole wall, but I did many of the small and medium paintings here. And I actually got to see a lot of the newer paintings for the first time, and I like them a lot, particularly that one over there. I don't know, it just looks really good and different from a lot of the other Minecraft paintings. And so lastly, for this project, we need to do something inside the tree here. So what we said we were going to do is turn this into kind of like a library of comments from my videos. So what we want to do is build sort of like a spiral staircase going up the entire thing with different areas for bookshelves and little trinkets and knickknacks and stuff like that. It is probably going to be a bit of a challenge. Oh my god, I'm stuck on the wall. It is probably going to be a bit of a challenge here because it is a little bit tight on space, but I think we can make it work. I just want to make sure that it's walkable and also has enough room for decorations in here, and so that you can see from the bottom all the way up to the top in here. Okay, so the library tree here is completed, complete with a staircase spiraling all the way up to the top and a hole in the bottom to see the museum below. And the way that I decorated this was just using like spruce to go through. I'm using these what are these called? The chains to hold this together, lanterns scattered throughout, and then little nooks like this. So I have the bookcases here where I'm going to put all of my books for completed projects and comments across my YouTube videos. So taking the first book from the beginning of this video, the museum project, the location, the goals, the inspiration, things like that, all of the information I'm going to store here in this library. So this is the very first book here. And as we go up, there'll be different details. There'll be paintings, some knickknacks like wither skeletons, skulls, potted plants, pots to see pickles for some reason, more paintings, like leaves tucked in here. Really, all of this just serves to like break up the monotony of the wood, just because like wood was the only thing that I could have on the walls here because it's just a tree on the outside. But I plan to fill all these bookcases with all your guys' comments, like I said. So if you guys want to have a comment immortalized in this library, be sure to leave one below and I will address it in the next episode potentially. And then nothing at the top. I might make a little thing to like shoot me out of the top of the tree so I can elytra somewhere, but nothing for now. But I could jump all the way through here down into the museum. And another thing I did with the museum was put these little like books here, sort of like how real museums do it. I put some information, so this is the dragon egg, the date that the dragon was slain, and just some like flavor text underneath: the only remains of the beast that ruled the end, unknown if this will hatch. So just some stuff to add like sort of lore to the museum and the base. Okay, and today's comment of the day actually comes from the World Tour video, since this is sort of the first episode of this series, but the comment is from Elfveer, and the comment says, the big tree and the general lack of trees or buildings kind of reminds me of Ohara from One Piece. And if you are not a One Piece nerd, I will fill this in and make it quick. Ohara is an island from One Piece, which is sort of like an island for archaeologists and sort of like documenters of the world. And Ohara has a giant tree in the middle of the island, and inside that tree is like the world library, or like a collection of like really important books and documents for the world. It wasn't my original inspiration for the big tree or the island, despite the uncanny resemblance, but it was the inspiration as to why I chose to put a library inside of that tree. And I hope you guys enjoy it. Also, on a complete side note, I have to do the ceiling in this room here because the exhibits and the floor of the museum is just bleeding through the floor, so we'll take care of that later. Okay, so we're gonna pop this comment right here next to the episode book, and I hope you all enjoyed. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, just let me know. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.